Hello guys, welcome to PC Tips Pro Python for Beginners. This is Shrija over here, and in the last class we have discussed the basics of the computer languages, like what are programming languages, data types, expressions and precedents, etc. So in this lecture we're going to discuss about variables, print and user input functions, and some code related to those functions, and we are getting into the Python slowly. Let's get started. In the last video we have discussed about some of the basics of the computer language, and some of the basic stuff like data types and expressions. So now we're gonna go into the some Python code and some basics. So let's get started. First one is the print statement. Print statement is a very starting stage of the Python, starting simple statement, nothing but print hello world. So its output will be hello world. Maybe most of you might be known this print statement. So it's very simple thing, but yet a significant thing. So now we are getting into the Python variables. What are these variables? So first, let's go like variables are something that doesn't have a fixed value, that you might be known from your childhood in the algebra and everything, but here it's gonna be somewhat different. So x is something that that doesn't have any particular value, but it do exist. So before going in depth, so let me tell you that we have discussed about these databases. So I am want to say that I'm giving a x variable which is having an integer value. It is integer, I'm declaring it. So this statement is called as a declaration statement. So int x, that means x is an integer value, I'm declaring it, but I don't know what is x. So this statement, what does it do? Internal computer, to the internal memory, what does it do? So it it do allocate a space in the memory. So what happens is, when you declare the statement in the memory, a space is created. This space is named as x. So this is what's simply done. So before telling you, I just forgot to tell you that integer, its space is 2 bytes, and where it comes to character, its space is 1 byte, and when it comes to the float, it's 4 bytes. So be clear with that and have a note of it. So x allocates a space, so the space is allocated, and when afterwards when you give the value of x equals to so 1, so when you give the value of x is equals to 1, then this space is occupied by 1 is written over here, and afterwards when you tell x is equals to 2, what happens is this 1 is erased from the data and 2 gets allocated over here. And again, if you write x is equals to 3, then this 2 is being erased from the data and 3 is being allocated. So this thing happen, and if you want to print, let me tell you, if you want to print x, then your answer will be, output will be 3 because lastly the x is being allocated with the 3. It's irrespective of what you get allocated over the past before x equals to 3. So this is how variables work. They just allocate the space when you just give them, declare them something that equals to. So when you solve the code, you'll just get very good experience of it and you'll get familiar of it. So let's go to the next topic called as user input. So what this user input says, we can instruct Python to pause and read the data from the user using the input function. The input function returns a string. So now I'm giving a variable name. I can give any variable name, not only x, not only y, not only z. We can give anything we can give. So I can give any. I'm giving this name. This is a variable for me, which you not know is a variable. Just get remembered it. So now the name is a variable, and it equals to input is our function. Who are you? So this means in the output, without typing anything, you get a statement called who are you. It asks you who are you, and this is a variable. So this variable is allocated with the answer you give for this statement. So just go to this example to get very familiar with the input function, and then if you want to print welcome comma name, that means welcome is a sentence which are given to it under single inverted commas, and the comma gives you a space. No need to separately allocate space, you just get a space from comma. And the name, which is not under the inverted commas, is the variable. Sorry, so here it is e, I just wrote name, it's name. So this name is a variable, so it should be replaced by the value of the variable, right? So the output will be who are you. So you will enter somehow check this stuck. So this name is allocated with the chuck. The space name in the memory is allocated with the chuck. So the output will be welcome comma name variable. Name variable is allocated with the chuck, so it will be chuck. It's very simple, just practice it number of times, you will just get into it. Name input, who are you, that means name is allocated with the input that you will give for the question who are you or anything the statement be. So let's just concentrate on this and uh, experience more number of codes to get familiar with this. So now we have one more example. Maybe by this example you get familiar with the variables and the input function. Converting user input. So before going to the example, I'm going to tell you that in the US the floors are starting from 1, 2, 3 for the lift. For the elevator, we do have floor 1, floor 2, floor 3. But in the UK, Europe, we do have from starting from 0. First floor is considered as the 0th floor, and then the second floor is considered as first floor. So what do you observe? This Europe floor plus 1 is the US floor, right? These are the elevator floors buttons. So we just want to make a code which tells that if you give it a Europe floor number, it will give you the US floor number. We need to do that code. So this slash is the comment. comment sign. It just doesn't make any changes to your code, but it just tells you some information, extra information for the user readability. So I'm gonna keep this variable name as inp. Okay, it's my variable name. And input Europe floor, US floor, it is another variable I'm giving to this US floor. So US floor will be equal to int. Why am I using int over here? Because the input which we'll get is an integer. It will be an integer. So it's really really important to use int over here, and it's mandatory thing. Int input inp plus 1, because this floor plus 1 gives you the US floor plus 1. So print US floor comma variable USF. So what happens, let's see in the output. Europe floor, how much? It is asking input. So I'm entering 0 floor. So this input in the memory space, this input is now allocated with 0, right? So when we go into this code, USF is equals to int input. Is this integer? Yes, right, integer. Int inp plus 1. That means 0 plus 1. Then USF in the memory space is allocated with 1. So print US floor is printed, and then USF is 1. So as it tallied, if you will just enter some 3 over here, it just goes through all the code here and it gives you US floor 4, right? Because your 3 plus 1 4, you get 4 over here. So I think now you're getting hands on the Python. And what is next? Now next topic we're gonna see in the subsequent video is demonstration of these codes. We'll just do in the practical way what are these codes, demonstrating the actual compiler and terminal, and indentation topic and loops. I hope you like this video and found this useful. Thank you for watching.